seeing Tactical Suicide take on the All Blacks.
Are you familiar with either of these teams?
Am I familiar with either of these teams? I believe both of them have appeared on my stream at some point. I have definitely watched the All Blacks now and then. The All Blacks, very strong team. I think they won Division 4 live on the hashtag LucaCast.
Nice plug.
Gotta plug yourself. gotta have a plug now and then. No, but they are a very strong team. They have some very clean calls and they're very aggressive and enjoyable. But Tactical Suicide, not to be laughed at either. They've made it through to the semi-final, so looking forward to see what they can give us. Should we have a little look at the map bans, Brighton?
Yes.
So, All Blacks taking that first ban. They're gonna ban out Towers and Tomb of the Scary Spooders, apparently. It's a good map, that team, the Scary Spooders. They're both quite rotation-focused maps. Both played slightly differently. There's not a lot of macro on either of them. It's all about how clean, how tight your rotations are. So maybe that's a strength they thought Tactical Suicide had. But on the other hand, Tactical Suicide banning out map bans after my own heart. Dragonshire and Braxis Holdout. That is how you draft, ladies and gentlemen. You remove the cancer maps and then you play Heroes of the Storm.
I personally quite like Braxis. I find it fun to play, but I understand it can be very frustrating sometimes. I do absolutely agree with Dragonshire. I despise that map.
I'm disliking, not hating Braxis is an acceptable opinion, but Dragonshire is the work of the devil. It's silly, it's awful, it's not enjoyable to play, it's not enjoyable to cast, it's sure as hell not enjoyable to observe. No one has fun.
No, literally no one. Here, come play play this team game. By the way, you're going to be split into 3 separate sections for the entirety of it. Have fun!
Speaking of fun, though, we have actually got our map pick from the All Blacks. It's going to be Battlefield of Eternity, and that's a map, right?
This is a map. This is absolutely I enjoy watching games on this map. Like, I enjoy the big epic battles that happen in those center objective points. It's just fun to watch. There aren't too many camps. There aren't multiple lanes to keep track of. It's normally just comes down to big objective control, which I am a big fan.
And it's like the thing about Battlefield of Eternity is it's not your standard objective. You're not playing Shrines where you both rock up, you agree on a time, you agree on a date, you say I'll see you there, mate. You turn up, you smash heads. The team that wins the fight usually wins the objective. No, Battlefield is 2 separate objective sites. You have to make such on-the-spot macro calls about your rotation. You have to know whose comp is racing, what part of your comp it wants to put that damage on the Immortal. When is it time to straight race? When is it time to try and take that fight? There are so many split-second decisions, but we've got the draft.
Fantastic. Being our Epic Cup aficionado out of the 2 of us, I'm going to put you on the spot and say which team this map favors.
Oh, I have absolutely no idea, but I'm gonna back All Blacks out of the gate just because I've seen them win on my stream and I can't remember what happened when Tactical Suicide. Just unfortunate, but All Blacks is just the name I remember better. That's essentially what it comes down to. I'm a little bit of a rugby man, so I see All Blacks and I remember.
I didn't say your reasoning had to make sense. I just wanted to put you on the spot.
How about you, Brightwing? Go on. Before we see
I know absolutely nothing about the Epic Cup, so I'm just going to go for the fact that one of the teams has a personal friend of mine, and I'm going to go for Tactical side here.
Okay, a little bit of personal bias coming out there from our casters. Nice to see it. Nice to see it.
Lovely.
Healy bands coming out. This is not the meta anyone else has been playing today. Stukov and Anna removed.
Interesting bans. I'm not surprised to see Anna ban. Be quite an oppressive healer in multiple situations. Stukov I've been seeing a very popular healer pick for a lot of teams recently. I wouldn't expect to see it banned, but I'm not surprised to see it.
When in doubt, banana. No, it's a very strong pick on this map. It does enable those chromies, those Li Mings that just make fighting so horrible. But the Reyna, second ban coming out here, he gives so much race, and if you don't want to play that style, it's quite nice to take him off the table. Maynard, though,
Gives you a nice little bit of breathing room. The Mei, I'm interested in. I enjoy seeing Mei being played. She's quite a peel-heavy character, which can really help when you're trying to deny objective team. The insta-lock Gazlowe picked up by Tactical side. What do you rate Gazlowe on this?
It's weird, right? Like he does a lot of damage. I like Gazlowe. I like the fact that the meme hero is meta. It makes me happy every time Gazlowe is played. I would insta-lock Gazlowe if I was allowed to every time, but Now, I believe, right? Big warning of Luca could be lying to you here, but I believe Lunara is a favored pick of one of the All Blacks. Wouldn't like to say who exactly, but I believe they have got some Lunara. They do indeed have 8 Lunara games under their belt on an 87% rate this season. So this Lunara on Bronze Forever might be a bit of a deny pick, but paired with that Greymane, it's a lot of damage coming out there without that ability to block it through the spell armor. So maybe making any Brightwing pickups feeling a little bit less tasty as well for the red side.
Absolutely. I feel like Lunara is one of those like sleeper picks similar to Artanis. Like on paper they're awful, but then you play against a really good one and you get dumpstered.
Well, if I say what I think about Artanis on the main Heroes Lounge stream, it might not be great for my casting career.
You might not get invited back, no?
I might not. So I will say that he is indeed a hero with melee range. He can indeed hit the wave, and it will eventually get cleared. And he does have the ability to turn up to team fights. All of these are facts about Artanis, and I will dispute none of them. Outside of that, let's move on to the heroes actually in this draft, as that Tyrande and the Yrel come out. And that's a nice aggressive setup there with the Tyrande, but the blue team and Nubarak Uther. No one's got a health bar. Everyone's going in. Who's dying first? These are the games we like to see.
Absolutely. It's a very ballsy, all-in team comp from the blue team that I'm really liking the look of. I'm seeing Divine Storm, I'm seeing Anubrak engages, I'm seeing Greymane engages, Gravabomb. That spell disaster for the red team, they get caught by those.
Part of me thinks, right, what if Greymane takes some move speed on 13, slap a Divine Shield on him, get him in range of Tyrande? I don't see how that goes badly any fight. But maybe we will see the Storm. I don't know, they're both... That's the thing about Uther. Both of those ultimates are so strong. It's just a shame that...
He can only pick one. Something I will say in favor of the red team, they do have the ability to appeal to disengage. And once those big cooldowns have been used, those big burst ultimates, the big CCs have been used by the blue team, they don't have a lot of tools left. So if the red team wanted to disengage and then immediately re-engage afterwards, they would be more than liable to do that.
Mm-hmm. That is true. There are a lot of maps where I would not be favoring the red team's draft, the blue team's draft right now. Their usual standard pressure is a bit weak. They haven't got a lot of AoE damage at all in that sort of burst capacity. They haven't got a lot of health bars either, so they can't stay somewhere for a very long time. But this map is the exception in my mind. You can get away with a lot here, but before we have more on that, I think we have to walk into the teams that are playing for us here. Brightwing, second semi-final on the blue team, playing for Tactical Suicide. They want to go and meet Quackamo in our grand final. We've got Gria on the Anubrak, Bronze Forever bringing out Lunara, mixing on the Uther, YD Dragok on Gazlowe, and Imbis Ayaba on the Greymane.
I'm glad you butchered those names so I don't have to. On the red side, we have Colonel Lord on the Li Ming. We have Dark Pyrox on the Johanna. That is a Johanna. Shadow Surge on the Cassia. Eldog on Ronda. And Benny on apparently the famous Yrel.
Mm-hmm. it has to be said, I have some rules on my channel, which I break frequently. I didn't cast finish teams because half of the cast is just me trying to do the introduction. I cannot manage for love nor money. Usually I end up just giving up. I think Ibims Eiber, I don't know, it's German, right?
I
Someone will correct me.
I mean, I butcher 50% of the English names I have to read, so I've got no chance there.
Yeah, but I am sure that regardless of how you're meant to say it, that Greymane is going to put in a really stunning show as we come in to Battlefield of Eternity, the first game in this semi-final. Right wing.
Based on these team comps, these four-mans in the bot lane, who do you think has the early advantage, might be able to end up pushing for that bottom camp?
Well, honestly, neither. I think that the bot camp is a bit of a pipe dream for either team. However, when you have that Greymane pickup, normally what you can do is take a sneaky little rotation topside and just take that top camp away and help your solo. But then, normally, you aren't Gazlowe into Yrel, and can Yrel just hold that camp 2v1? I'm not sure what the answer to that is, but Noobrag here falls really low to that pressure. Uther's going to have trouble sustaining him, and he's going to tap and back so that he will have health by the time he gets back to lane.
So fair enough. We see it with Reyna a lot, that rotation up to that top. And I feel like even as Yrel, you're going to struggle to hold that 2v this stage of the game. Maybe if you're level 10 you could manage it, but I don't think this early you can do it. Blue team taking a very early bruiser camp. Maybe we'll hold it until that 2.5 minute mark.
It does look like they're just very, very cautious. They want to make sure they can get this. If you can do this early, it does mean that when the red team goes to get their bruisers, you have the man advantage on the siege camp. And since that hasn't been taken yet, that might be the play that they're calling. But looks like Greymane is just going to hang out by the camp as well, though. Oh no, Lunara and Noobrag coming down. Okay, I'm on board. I'm on board, right?
I like this early camp play by the blue team. I like the fact they're going for that big 2 camp advantage in one lane. The red team are going to have to clear, otherwise they are going to lose out on a lot of early pressure bottom lane.
I think if the red team sniffs this out, then it's very unfortunate because they just take a free camp, but they didn't see it coming. They weren't wise to what was going on, and now they are going to have a slight macro disadvantage into this first Immortal phase.
The Tyrande Arrow did actually scout out the bruiser camp for the blue team, but by that point it was already done and far away to really do anything about it.
And now we see why you picked Greymane and Lunara on this map. Look at that Immortal, it's just vanishing. The red team haven't even cleared up the camp yet, and we're already almost at halftime.
I think into that sort of comp, if the red team are going and clearing those camps, you're pretty much conceding halftime regardless, right? There's no way you can defend that.
Very rough halftime. There's a little bit of a skirmish is breaking out here. Full 5v5. Noobrag falls low. Won't quite get stunned by the Tyrande though. And he will be able to walk out. Lunara just free to poison the entire red team. But they can't afford to just trade here, so they're going to step up and try and take this fight. Lots of stun circles on the ground, but an attempt on the Tyrande. Not gonna lie, I think it's gonna come through. Health bar's a bit low, but Uther will be the first to fall. The damage comes out onto the Anub, and the ghost of Uther won't be able to keep him up either. The All Blacks coming in with this strong fight, and now Greymane feels like he has to go in. Is going to be able to confirm that objective. Will he be able to get out though? Doesn't look likely, and now Lunara might be a little bit lost as well.
Something we talk about in draft, wasn't it? The lack of sustain that the blue comp has. Like, they needed to finish these fights quickly, and the longer the fight goes on, the more it favors the All Blacks. The red team are going to be able to just clear this objective pretty much immediately. The blue team are going to opt to push bottom lane instead.
I do like this call. This was the thing that happened. We got this from the changes to turrets because free diving towers with an Immortal is no longer a thing. So instead, you force the entire enemy team into the top side to clear out the Immortal, and you just kind of take the free push 4v1 in the bot side.
Yeah,
it's not as important now when they kind of nerf those towers so many times that they hit like a little bit of a wet blanket sometimes, but it's still a thing.
Well, a lot of damage onto Joanna.
A lot of damage indeed. She will be
just about getting out with Iron Skin.
Not an awful first Immortal. It gets wall in top, wall in bottom, fountain in bottom. Splitting your damage is not the end of the world. I think it's probably fine.
Could see a gank onto the Cassia while the Gazlowe is taking that camp.
Does look like it. I think the Tyrande scouts out, so she is aware something is coming, and her positioning does reflect that. Red team just going to try and get damage bot side, because they know where the blue team is for a bit, but not a lot going off here.
Blue team trying to be aggressive, but that Tyrande, the vision it gives, there's a lot of value to be gained in that sometimes gets dismissed. Like, you think of Tyrande on this map, you're thinking of the trait, you're thinking of the stun. You don't necessarily think about the value that the...
It is definitely in these more coordinated circumstances. Well, let's hope they're more coordinated at least. The ability to have that consistent vision on where you think the enemy team is so valuable, because even if you don't find them, you have a massive portion of the map you know they're not in, and that can really narrow down where they could be.
I want to put it out there that I feel like Tyrande's probably one of the most underrated healers in the game at the moment. Like, she used to be this top tier, first, second pick sort of tier, and then after a couple of nerfs, like the movement to Celestial Attunement, some movement to her numbers, she sort of fell off in favor of like the Rhaegar and the Anduin.
There's
So
definitely
like
been a bit of a
valuable.
shift away from Tyrande, but Tyrande and Uther, both not your traditional healers picked up here. Nubarak thinking about disrupting that orb, choosing not to, and then taking the damage anyway. That is unfortunate.
Yeah. Feels horrible when you move about 5 miles to the left to dodge an orb and it hits you anyway.
Yeah. Not using his W to tank these orbs is slightly interesting to me. I feel like that big spell armor might be nice, and he might actually get engaged on here. Tyrande steps forward. They've got the 10s now.
Oh, lovely body block by the
Big body
Urel.
block from Benny. Look at that. He will go down here. That's
Love-
unfortunate. And Gazlowe gonna have to pop the medallion and the grabber bomb, but it's not enough. 2 kills going out to the All Blacks, and now Greymane gonna just try and siege this built fort, but All Blacks aren't gonna let him do that for free.
Absolutely fantastic quick thinking by Urel. Seeing the Anub'arak diving into that short space, jumping just in front to get the body block off, securing that kill. Some amazing play by the Urel.
Looks like Greymane will be allowed to just half out in the corner. That's nicely done by him, and Lunara is going to get a little bit of race onto the objective, and this is what I mean about macro decisions on this map. Even with 2 kills at the start of this objective phase, very little advantage has gone over to the red team, and the blue team have got a bottom 4.
The red team do have their bruiser camp up. Do you reckon it's worth conceding possibly a halftime to take that camp and maybe have pressure for the next fight?
It's an interesting decision. This is quite a safe defense, so I like the fact they're choosing to fight, backing their team fighters. One does break out. The damage is coming down. Uther's starting to fall quite low here. Doesn't look like it's quite going to drop, but now Greymane looking for that counter engage. The grabber bomb only hitting Urel. She will get that Ardent out. Is going to be enough for her to survive. And Greymane falls a bit low. So does the Uther. Cassia stepping forward. They want this first kill. They want to start this Leeming reset chain. Divine Shield coming down on the Anub'arak. And now the blue team are going to back up. The red team are going to back up through their Immortal.
I don't know if you saw it, but a lovely wave of force there to keep the Leeming alive after the Gravemane dived in.
Very nicely done.
But I feel like now that all these big combo ultimates have been burned, the red team are favoured to now re-engage if they so desire.
It's an interesting one because we have got that cursed bullet up, and there is a lot of stun chain for the blue team. So Johanna does have to be careful, because if she ever does get caught out, or if anyone else for that matter gets caught out, they are going to get popped. But if they can't find that CC, then yeah, I think I probably do favour the red team. There's this Falcon onto Uther. Where did he go? Shield actually not even connecting. He was dead so fast. But now Urel is a little bit lost in the backline, as is Gazlowe. The team's all over the place. Grabber bomb comes out. Everyone manages to dodge it, but Cassia falls in the back to those Lunara jumps. 1-for-1 trade, and blue team able to step up now, get a bit of damage, force out this halftime show, and this is not good for the red team. They don't have the stronger first, but Lunara gets jumped on. She will go down, Leeming in the cocoon, but it doesn't matter. Is there a follow-up? Gazlowe falling solo. Anub'arak trying to burrow in, trying to get some value, but Gazlowe falls as well. The All Blacks marching on forwards.
So phenomenal extended fight there by the red team. Once again, taking advantage of the fact that they have far more sustaining teams. Oh, another lovely wave of force to keep Leeming alive there from dive.
Greymane here wants to go in, is going to pick off at least one. Medallion a little bit early, so he will fall there to that Valkyrie. That is unfortunate, but
I understand seeing the Johanna on 10 health, you want to go in there. I'm not sure trading the Greymane for a Johanna during a race phase is quite the play.
well, it removes a bit of safety. The less numbers on the table, the more value for Lunara sometimes. I'm not sure. Is the honest answer. Maybe he thought that he had a chance of getting a kill and living, and he thought the kill was guaranteed. At which point, he might be a bit hopeful, but if that's his analysis, I think the play is fine. But, you know, it's not the end of the world. Unfortunately, though, we do see the red team now with this level lead and the talent advantage. It's going to make fighting a little bit rough here for the Quack-A-Mole. No, they're not Quack-A-Mole, they're Tactical Suicide now. Teams change in a knockout tournament, Brightwing.
Some big abilities coming out on level 13 for the red team. The Velen's chosen, the damage reduction on the Taronda W, the upgraded teleport for the Li Ming. These are small things that add up to a big advantage. That's a big blow up on Uther.
That was very nicely executed there. The Uther popping almost instantly. Nicely done by the blue team. But now they're going to look to just try and race. That cocoon on the Yrel is going to make it so hard for them to peel them off this Immortal. They can't quite get the fight win, but the big grabber comes out. The stun follow-up. Is there a kill hit? Doesn't look like the damage of the blue team had buttons. They weren't expecting this, and it will be the Gazlowe that falls here. Follow up onto the Greymane with the resets, and that is not where you want to be. But bot side, that camp with a catapult, with a big wave pushing, is going to force a response out of Yrel.
The red team losing 2 of their big Immortal Shredders just before the Immortal comes into the lane. It's not ideal. They're almost definitely going to lose the fort here. And the red team could possibly go for a dive past the fort if they do it quick enough.
They could look for it, but the Uther's up. There's not a lot of great dive targets if you can't hit him and he's on his mount, so I don't hate them just taking the building.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Take the advantages you've been given. No need to throw them away for some Hail Mary play you don't need to do.
We do see, though, a 5v4 breaking out here potentially for the blue team. If Nubrak can finally engage,
Watch that Gazlowe flank
on the flank, and here he comes, causing as maximum disruption. The Yrel will be here soon, but the problem is out now. It's on to Cassia. The damage comes down. There's an unstoppable, but it's maybe not enough to run to though. So much healing coming out. She will survive. And now, Li Ming's out of the cocoon. D-shield on the Anubrak, so he doesn't fall. He goes in on that Taronda, and that's the first pick. Cassia falls second, and now the blue team looking to clean house here, but Li Ming is still up, and Greymane will fall there to the Li Ming, and the orb's coming out, the 3, the 4! 5-man wipe! Li Ming, Yrel just stealing one of those, but
Li Ming's going to survive. 30 health.
It's the value of the Li Ming right there.
You can never discount those Li Ming reset. Like, even at that point, when you're 3 people ahead, all she has to do is kill 1 person, that's it. It's a possible team fight. Phenomenal Li Ming play here just throughout this whole game.
Is why we pick Calamity.
Yes. Stop picking or build, you absolute plebs.
Absolute plebs. This is the sort of quality cast we get on the Epic Channel Cup channel.
I hope someone in chat ends up clipping that, because that was an absolute joy to watch.
Let's get that in the Heroes Lounge Clips channel. Colonel Lord absolutely popping off on that Li Ming. And let's get some flames on Benny there, denying him that penta, taking away one of those kills. It's not good team play, that is it, Brightwing?
No, absolutely. You should be supportive of your team's pentas. You shouldn't be denying them like that. So, toxic plays probably will be banned after this game. Just out there. Red team pushing bot, 5-man with a camp. Now deciding to rotate up to objective. Might try and catch these 2 blue team members pushed up in the top lane. They're very far pushed up.
Doesn't look like Gazlowe's going to be able to make it out here. The Owl spots him. Medallion in case the shield comes out. And now Lunara's going to try and get some race on. But the entire red team are already on their Immortal. So this is just a formality for them at the moment. A little bit of damage on that Johanna. Just trying to force the red team to respond. And they are going to respect this. It looks like damage coming out. But Li Ming's able to just get that halftime show secured. And there's no engager for the blue there. Still down half a level to 16, but they want this Johanna. They think she's overstepped, and Li Ming blinking in with the full combo is going to fall, but she gets hit by the grabber bomb. Everyone's diving her, and she will fall first. And now Taronda being harassed by the Greymane and the Lunara. Second kill going over to the blue side, who needs 16 talent here, they say. And Gaslow in the backline, absolutely smurfing on that Cassia, winning the 1v1, whilst the blue team chase down the Johanna. And that is 4 kills just for the Uther. Getting that first death in the fight for the big brain healing plays. Sure, that was perfectly calculated by Tactical Suicide there.
It's the clues in the name, right? Tactical Suicide on the Uther, so he could heal throughout that team fight. But no, it was a phenomenal Bless Shield combo into the Li Ming to blow up the Uther originally, but as we say, that doesn't get rid of Uther from the fight, does it? It just makes him a better healer.
You do get the resets, but it doesn't take him out of the fight. As we transition into this quick pause here, Brightwing. I have to say, this Greymane Lunara, such an enjoyable dive comp from both the assassins. They're really using it well to just jump on top of the Lunaras and the Tarondas in that backline. Executed so well there in that fight.
Absolutely, and we can't discount the CC from the Nubrak to help keep those targets still while the Blarp. Also, the big grabber bombs also have just to clump those up for the Greymane Worgen trans. I think I don't want to put it all on Lunara and Greymane specifically. I feel like the whole team are doing well to execute comp.
That is true. The Greymane and when you have that much free dive onto backliners that don't have the ability to disengage it very well, it makes it interesting because it adds that extra element that your team has to look at in all the fight. So you have to ask, is it that's getting you the value? Is it the grabber bomb? Because the big grabber bombs, they make it so that your team wants to step away, but as soon as you're not grouped, you're not next to your peel. So your L sometimes doesn't have enough time to get there and actually force off the Greymane or the Lunara. Although to be fair, what's your L going to do into Lunara?
Yeah, no, absolutely. While we are in the pause, who do you think has the advantage going into 20s?
So good question. I don't know. If they group as 5 and they push D Shield.
Level 20 D Shield, I completely forgot that was a thing.
Does the red team just die? I think the red team just dies.
I think unless the red team hard disengage, I think you're right. I think they do just melt. Like, what do you do against a completely invulnerable team, right?
Yeah. Yeah, looks like we're going to go into a second pause here.
Only a short one, apparently.
High quality, definitely not getting griefed by any of the teams.
Nope, not at all.
Looks like we are going to... It's just a... we are back in the game again. Oh, that's what we like to see. We do have to, though, as this Immortal pushes in, have a quick public service announcement out there. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the audience, Johanna is a great hero. She's good fun. She throws shields. She brings friends together. She slows people down. She lights the way. It's very enjoyable. But she has one level 13 talent. And it's not Holy Fury. Take punish. Anyway, big Valkyrie coming out. D-Shield onto the Uther, but it is going to be the Anub'arak that gets pulled in. He's going to be able to walk out. Nothing coming from this fight as Gaslow just pushes in the other lane. A wall will fall onto the keep. About half the keep's health from this Immortal, so not a bad push, but maybe not quite the game-shattering play you'd want. And still half a level down for the blue team, so they are going to need a couple more fight wins in order to find themselves this 20.
Important to note that while that was going on, Gaslow was just catching up on the Soak in the bottom lane, so maybe not as much siege in that top, but trying to catch up in the MP, playing around that possible level 20.
Yeah, no, I mean, you can just get that XP over time, right? Like, it's not the end of the world. You are going to be forced to play into this 20 at this point, and so it's, what can I do on the map now to make the red team run back and forward? And Greymane's trying to do that, right, with this stretching here.
Does need to be careful, because if you get caught at this point of the game, it could be absolute dust.
That's true, but it looks like he's going to be fine. He's aware of how long the rotation's going to take, and Now the blue team just gonna take the XP in the other lane. They've got their camp pushing in here. That's just something else that the red team have to do before they can think about using this 20 advantage.
I feel like someone's fixed the game code here, because look at the positioning of these next mortals. This is pretty much going to guarantee us a big fight with the way
This is the position of dreams for any team with an advantage. This is so hard for your opponent's team to ever cheese you out. You've got ages to sit back, poke, look for the fight you want. This is the position the red team's draft looks like it's set up for. But the blue team, if they could just back off a bit, going to be very hard for the red team to actually step up. And you might see that overextension. So should be able to find 20 through the halftime phase, I would imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. You will be obviously conceding the halftime show for this, but it's worth doing. You don't want to take a fight for 20s.
Big shield comes out from Johanna, and Divine Shield will have to use instantly on Lunara. She's falling very low. She will be able to get out there, and Greymane running it down into the Yrel. He's going to be able to make it out, but that's a huge Ardent Defender cooldown popped here, so...
But conversely, on the other team, we do also have the Cocoon and the Divine Shield being as well.
Only really the Grabber Bomb will be here once they hit 20 for that fight, but almost all the ultimates used up, or at least all the real ultimates used up from the red team. Only the Lunar Shower? Starfall. Only the Starfall available. Not
basically the same thing.
Not very favourable positions here though for the red team, blue team, and they are going to try and make this Hail Mary play, looking for the fight under their own Immortal, but top lane is pushing for the red team. They just have to back off, and the blue team are going to have to get either an Immortal or a keep. And they're diving deeper and deeper, trying to find an angle, but the red team are just saying, no, we don't want this fight.
The blue team desperately try and take a fight here, and the red team realize that. They're just backing off, saying, no, you need to do something about this. And
now, a sensible play, Lunara just trying to get a little bit of race damage in, but that camp has arrived at the keep now, and they're going to have to back out of this soon. And Nubrak that gets engaged on, big Grabber Bomb comes out, damage onto the Cassia, but Anub falls first. Yrel, without that Ardent anymore, will go down. Uther's going to fall, though. He has gotten for that redemption, though, so he will be back in this fight. Lunara getting healed up. She's going to fall, but it's going to cost them Li Ming, and now Uther's coming back. This is a 3v3. Johanna falling really low, has the Iron Skin. D-Shield is out, though, on the Greymane. He's running it down into the team. Will there be a kill here? It doesn't look like there will. And that keep in the top lane is going to go down for Tactical Suicide.
Blue team are going to lose that top keep as a reward for their amazing play, and they are going to have to defend this Immortal. But a great ending fight there. The Uther ended up taking the redemption instead of the level 2 upgrade for Divine Shield, which obviously was rather useful in that last little fight there.
I don't know. I think I would have preferred to see the blue team just back up, get as much burst on their Immortal as physically possible, and then go and clear out that camp. See how much of the shield you can finish off at your fort whilst being safe, because there's not too much of a force from the red team. You've got that Uther cleanse and the D-Shield if it all goes drastically wrong, and then
especially
whole keep, but...
especially after that in fight where they burnt a lot of high-profile cooldowns, I feel like the last thing to do at that point is take a fight. Credit to them for winning and getting good advantage out of it, but I feel like they played that a little more optimal. It's a big wave in bot pushing on that keep. They need to clear that.
Well, a very wise man once said, the correct way to win Battlefield of Eternity is to lose all of your keeps first. Shout out to Snitch, one of the only players to ever come out from the UK and actually looked like he knew how the game works. Him and Aethero, right? But no, it's going. Oh well, and my man Bakery, but he left. It's a position that's absolutely fine. This isn't cursed. It's not a massive map. You can always get those waves pushed out and find yourself those game-winning fights. And if you find an Immortal walking on your opponent's core, usually that game's going to end eventually. So it's not the end of the world here for Tactical Suicide.
Blue team are going to have to turn around and clear that top lane. There's a couple of catapults and a siege camp pushing that in. So they do need to be careful about that.
That is true. Nubrak though, looking for an engage here. Gazo Bomb will hit 3. He has gone for that upgraded bomb on 20, not seeing the ease instead. And here it is. It lands onto 2. Bit of CDR, but no follow-up just now. And Nubrak falling quite low is going to cocoon that Yrel. looking to try and find an angle here to engage, but they won't be able to get it. And now Yrel is out. She's full health, but Cassia maybe a bit low here. D-Shield comes out, but not onto the Anub'arak, and Uther might fall here.
Oh,
reset! Li Ming getting the reset party here. Greymane looks like he might be able to shut her down though.
Oh.
And 3 kills for that Greymane in the fight means that actually we end up in an even spot with Uther Greymane into the Johanna Ronda. This is race potential definitely for the blue team, although Uther is going to have to back up first and do something about this. I'm not sure what Uther's going to do about this, if I'm honest, Brightwing.
He can tank it for a bit while the rest
He's just running in circles, making sure the catapults don't actually hit the core.
If the Li Ming had managed to finish off Uther with that last magic missiles, was left on about 10 HP, that could have been a completely different be saying. We could have seen Li Ming with a team wipe and the red team pushing for core at this point.
That is very true. Beautiful plays coming out from Ibimis Aebach. Just call yourself Jeff. But it looks like Greymane and Uther will be able to step up and get this race done. They are going to have to back out kind of soon because they are slightly closer to the red team side, and obviously they don't want to get caught here. But Immortals looking pretty even here as we come in for this next 5v5 block. D-Shield and Ardent Defender a little far away, but it's not too important.
You were talking to me about how Volskaya goes forever. It feels like this game's gone on for about 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
Every time it looks like it's going to end, both teams end up blowing each other up.
But the important thing to recognize here is as long as this game is taken, it's because of how evenly matched these two teams are. They've played after level 10 such a close game as the Grabber Bomb comes out, but only connects on an unstoppable Yrel. Not getting that engage they want. Uther again with the self-divine shield. Lunara dropping so low, but won't fall here. And looks like Ardent will get full soon. No, Yrel able to just walk out, but now Greymane gets caught by the stun, and Li Ming gets that reset.
The reset!
Third kill onto Lunara. Looks like this might be all she wrote in this game 1. It's only game 1, Brightwing, but it looks like...
It feels like game 5.
looks like the All Blacks have taken this absolute slugfest towards the blue team's core, and that will be all she wrote.
To any prospective Li Ming players out there that take Orb and Disintegrate, let this be a lesson as to why you don't do it.
Wow. I mean, there are arguments into Cocoon and Anub'arak that maybe the Disintegrate would have had some value, but was played very well, wasn't it?
Just phenomenally well played game by both teams. A fantastic game to watch. I can't wait
for game 2 either. What a game.
I'm tired.
Sky Foundry, because we really like it.
Probably go on for about 7.
No, incredibly well fought, close game there by both sides of that. Greymane getting so many of those kills, but the Lunara and the Gazlo putting out so much damage, and Li Ming on the other side, 19 kills, Brightwing. 19 kills.
That's a lot of kills.
That's 6 more than the blue team.
Genuinely, at the end there, that could have gone either way. Like, I don't think tactical side of anything to be ashamed about. Like, that could have quite easily swung their way at multiple points during those fights. I just think they need to collect themselves, go into game 2 with renewed hope that they can go for the reverse here, because I think they're more than capable of doing so.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I'm excited to see what they're going to bring out next. Are we going to see something similar? Very aggressive, dive-heavy comp. So, is that going to be what we see, or are they going to have something different for us?
So your team's just gone for a dive-heavy comp, and you lost game 1. What do you do? Do you try and do the same thing again, or do you try and switch it up a little bit?
It's a good question, and I'll come back to it in a minute. But first, we have to address the elephant in the room. It's Volskaya Foundry. Oh no!
I can't wait to
talk seen a 6th protector before, Jack.
I can't wait to talk about the 8th protector in this game.
I think we've already made our opinions on Volskaya Foundry clear, so we won't dwell on this subject for too long. But Yeah, Volskaya Foundry will be our second map. Will the All Blacks be able to take this series and bring it into the final, or will we see Tactical Suicide bring back the 1-all and force us into that map number 3? Brightwing, your question was?
You've just gone for this Hail Mary all-in sort of team comp, and it hasn't quite worked out in game. Do you change things up for game 2, or do you try it again with the renewed knowledge of the...
Well, my answer is unfortunately going to be very massively affected by the fact we're not on a real map. Normally, I am a big believer that you go into a series with a plan. And unless that plan gets shut down absolutely astronomically, you stick with the plan. And I would say their plan was incredibly close to being successful. But Dive Comp, Volskaya Foundry, these words don't make me happy. So, maybe we'll see something a little bit different. I'd like to see that aggressive option coming out, especially if we're going to see another immobile healer from the All Blacks, because they like their Tyrande, they like their Ana, and stuff like that. Leap Lunara is able to get on top of it and really punish it. But at the same time, you just...
Considering the other games that have happened today, I feel like I have to ask, are we going to see a Deathwing this game?
I don't know. I'd like to see Deathwing. I think he's in a really good spot right now, especially in that 4-man melee flex kind of NA, but maybe it's a real thing now role that we used to see a lot, and is kind of coming back now. I'd love to see if we can maybe get some of that going on, but teams seem to be putting Gaslow in that role at the moment, and he definitely feels it as well. So
I want you to picture this: Uther support, Gaslow off lane, big clumping into big AoE stuns with Q-build Deathwing. Does that make you happy?
It's just a lot of CC. It's a lot of stuff. What makes me quite happy is the Easy Bake Oven 2.0. Back in the HGC days, for a very short 2 weeks, maybe 3, we saw on maps like Shrines, Diablo Leoric putting that lightning breath on top of the Entomb. Now, obviously, eventually people worked out Apoc's kind of better with Entomb anyway, and it kind of died off. Lightning breath fell out of the meta again, but Q-build Deathwing is a lightning breath and a half. You slam that Entomb down, you put that fiery breath that I don't know the name of on top of that, and your Easy Bake Oven is cooking with gas.
Absolutely. I think it's called Molten Breath. I might be wrong though. Leoric obviously is a phenomenal hero for Volskaya Foundry. I don't know if Drake plays a lot of Leoric. I've seen mostly Gaslow and D.Va recently, but it'll be interesting to see if they do whip that out. Could also be seen by the red team. They might bust out the meme. We don't know.
To be fair, if I was an offlaner in this meta, it's going to be Gaslow D.Va. They were my 2 highest level bruisers before the maybe I shouldn't be sharing. They were, they're the right ones. Play them. But Brightwing, we have our draft coming out onto Volskaya Foundry.
Do you think we're going to see any bans in particular based on the first game? Personally, I think we might see a Li Ming ban coming out here.
Might be time, mightn't it?
Yeah, especially on Volskaya, her ability to poke outside and around the objective before committing to a fight is so good. I don't think you can ignore that potential. If you're not going to first pick it, get rid of it.
We're going to see that continued pressure onto the Li Ming. They don't want to have to play into that. That's fair enough for them. Stukov again as the ban. Obviously, they're a Stukov team. Or the All Blacks just woke up this morning and went, the old man, not for me. But
I feel like if we've seen Stukov consistently ban this, well, there's a reason for it, right? They're not doing it for no reason at this point in the game.
And the Grey main ban, that's really interesting. Is this a Li Ming first pick?
Ooh, the Mei ban, so the Li Ming is open. We could see the Li Ming insta-lock here.
Mm-hmm. But the Gaslow is a Johanna. Well, we don't know what's going on here.
No, I should probably stop trying to do this analysis stuff because I clearly don't know what I'm talking about.
I mean, clearly there's a plan. The question is, is it a good plan?
I remember a couple of seasons ago in Rare Cup where Johanna was like the first pick, but it seems weird to say it now. Like I feel like there's so many better priority picks than Johanna. Johanna's still good, don't get me wrong, but you don't really need to first pick her anymore.
The medallion really devalued Johanna a little bit because there's very few moments on Johanna where you need it.
I'm a big fan of Deckard, especially on this map. Oh, Leoric Li Ming. Oof.
That Li Ming not picked up by the red side, so the blue team will get it in the 2-3. Deckard Lunara, though, that's a 20 fight if ever I saw one. Those big sleeps coming out, or the infinite potions, depending on how you swing, and then Lunara getting all of those damage talents as you ramp into the late game.
I'm a massive fan of Deckard's team fighting capabilities on this map. His ability to sustain you on the point as well as drop those big roots that either are going to root the enemy team or provide zone control. Even if you don't land them, it forces the team to back away, right?
That's very true, but Brightwing, you know what Deckard doesn't have? Doesn't have the Holy Grip. He doesn't have the ability to save this target from the Entomb, and if that Entomb comes down, Tomb into the Blessed Shield, Li Ming combo on top of it, that's going to really hurt any frontliner, especially if we see a little bit more damage picked up to put on it in the back half.
Absolutely. I feel like aside from the Deckard himself, like Lunara doesn't have to really worry about that until 20, obviously with the Leaping Strike. Depending on the team, the red team, they could draft a team that doesn't really care about Entomb for most of the game.
There are very few tanks in this game, though, that are safe in that Entomb. Sonya coming out. That is a very aggressive offlane. I'm going to see her try and bully these backliners, but the question is there going to be another backline, or are we going to see... we're going to see the Cassia, not the Deathwing. That does make me a little bit sad. I was thinking this was one of those drafts where you could really think about slamming it, but maybe the Lunara bullies it too hard. And the Lucio. I like the Lucio.
It's a lovely Lucio pick there. Lovely disengage for the Sonya if you're struggling to keep her off of the back line. And just the ability to rotate round on this map where early rotations are so valuable. I think that's going to bring a lot to the table. Might struggle to keep up with healing the amount of damage that Kael'thas can put out.
That's very true.
The cow is back. We have cow.
But this is a scary game to be in the cow.
Yeah. One of the worst tanks to have ETC into is probably that Johanna. Just her ability to interrupt everything you're trying to do.
Well, that's what made Johanna so strong in the meta for so long, because ETC was just the bane of all tanks' existence. He pushed W and your hero didn't do what it was meant to do. And Johanna looked at him and went, catch. And just hurled that frisbee at him at 200 miles an hour and straight in the forehead, get in between the eyes, cow down. And of course, when the cow's down, we chow down on the lovely beefcakes. Yeah.
So, not so much the massive wombo combo team we were maybe speculating about, but still some great things that both teams are capable of doing with what they've drafted so far.
That is very true. As we come in to this map number 2, potentially the final map of the semi-finals. This could be where we have to say goodbye to Brightwing if the All Blacks can take it. But Tactical Suicide, they're here. They're on the blue team. They're ready to fight for their chance to stay in this tournament. We have got Imris Aibach on the Cassia. We have got Mixin on the Lucio. He's mixing some tracks. We've got YD Drago on the Leoric. We've got Gria on the Johanna, and Bronze Forever bringing out that Li Ming Brightwing.
And on the red team, we do have Dark Pyrox on the cow on the ETC. We've got Colonel Lord on the Kael'thas. We have Benny on the Sonya. We have Eldog on the old man himself, Mr. Deckard Cain. And we have Shadow Surge on the Lunara.
And looking at those votes in chat, I think big favour going over to the All Blacks here on the red-hand side. What do you think, Brightwing?
I find it hard to bet against a team with an ETC, even one where the ETC is disadvantaged. I think he just brings so much to the table. With the backliners that the red team have, that's a serious amount of damage potential coming out of the slide, out of the mosh.
I
also do love the Sonya's ability to harass the backliners, as you say, makes it hard to punish those big wombo plays if you don't manage to hit everyone with, say, a mosh.
I could definitely see it. I am personally, I think, coming down on the side of the blue team. These big shields, the blessed shields, and the silencing entombs at level 20. I can't even bring myself to meme about gloating this time. really bringing out that damage. And I don't know, in team fights, any of these backliners getting hit by that silencing entomb, Li Ming is going to be there in time. Cassia can go deep. They've not got great shutdown for Cassia as well outside of that ETC, so lots of dive threats, and poor ETC is going to have his handful keeping his team safe, I think.
Absolutely. A couple of talent choices I want to talk about quickly before anything too important happens. We have the Wisp at level 1 for the Lunara, which I think is so valuable on a rotation-heavy map like Volskaya. We were talking about Vision with Taronda in the first game. Same thing. Oh, that's a lot of damage onto the Lucio. Just going to survive. And we also have the Ossium Renewal for the Leoric, quite a common one. I'm more of a fealty guy myself, but I prefer both of those talents to the Q level 1 we saw earlier.
I think Ossian makes more sense on Volskaya. You've got long periods of time where you have to be at a fight, and so you kind of want that button to give you the sustain in fight. Fealty is quite nice on that Towers of Doom, where you do a lot of AFK rotating, and not a lot of anything else.
Also keeping in mind that a lot of these objectives are near lanes, you can very quickly hop out for a globe to get the cooldown. Right, Drake taken down by the Solnia for the solo kill in the solo lane.
We just see that respect for the 1v1, and Sonya just goes, just a bit past your prime, aren't you, Leoric? You've been doing this now for
a solo laner you used to be.
Absolute centuries. The new blood is here. The Nephilim are ready to take you down. As he finds the Diablo reference he was so desperately digging for there.
Red team taking a very early camp. Oh no, sorry, that's not an early camp. I just can't read apparently.
It is a little bit on the early side. Maybe it's perfectly timed. No, it might actually just be perfectly timed. Do you know?
Chaos Wizard, right?
Go with better timed than the blue teams. That's the definition I'm going to give that. But they're going to try and get this heal camp, and I don't think they have the window they hoped. And because of how they've pulled this, it's going to be hard for them to actually contest this point. Lucio on it now, Johanna holding the ground, and Darkprox is going to have to step through a gap he doesn't really want to walk through. Blue team opting to drop their turret for this, though. It's maybe worth it for the XP, but not the best setup for the fight, and Lunara found the old bag of bones and has somehow managed to poison that which has no life.
I feel like that's still a positive trade for the blue team. I still feel like the heal beacon brings a little bit more to the table than the turret does. Healing your entire team as opposed to doing DPS at one character, I feel like it's a bit more valuable, but obviously would prefer to see them not drop the turret there.
That's interesting. I think one heal is giga value, but the more heals you get, I feel like their value really drops off, whereas turrets almost gain value the more you add, so sometimes it's nicer to hold those turrets and hope you get a heal later, but this is their first heal. Maybe they want to use it to contest this first point. I know I have a bit of a win 20, win game attitude to this map that other people don't share to the same extent, so...
Do you think either team has an early advantage over fighting these points? 3-10?
I mean, one team is Johanna Leo, and both of those heroes don't exist before 10.
I have to agree, especially with the with Deccan zone control, with the Ruby, ETC's early pick potential and the eye-watering amount of Chaos damage. I think the red team has the advantage in these early fights, but obviously that could all turn on its head.
That's true, but the early game Deckard healing is not always that reliable. He's really there for his sleep as well. That's like, the zone control is nice, but without that big sleep to threaten fights, he's a bit lackluster. As holding this turret now, Johanna falling a bit low, and Mixing is going to choose to drop that healing camp. Maybe not the call there, but going to use it to top up and try and re-engage for this fight. Li Ming just trying to poke out that damage. She's another hero that actually in the late game really does kind of ramp up.
Blue team dropping that.
Sorry.
Blue team were dropping the turret down, but it's pretty much immediately destroyed before it could get much value. The red team's turret, you can see it still pinging away in the back there. Blue team choosing to ignore it.
But the dive from the Cassia onto the Li Ming, trying so hard onto the Li Ming, and the Cassia and the Li Ming onto the Lunara, trying so hard to stay alive, but in the end, Lunara does fall there on that 50 health, giving first blood in this fight at least over to the blue side, but Johanna's had to back out, and the blue team aren't very healthy here. Li Ming, on the biggest flank I've ever seen, is going to be okay though, and the dash through from Lucio, damage coming out, no one falls. Lucio going to take a bit of damage here himself, but should be able to get his team topped up.
So low health, but we're at that stage of the game where it doesn't really matter unless you get those kills. They've got the taps, they have time to get back onto that objective. They really need to secure those kills. Level 10's coming out now.
So well matched, Brightwing. These games feel so incredibly close. What an absolute treat this is to watch. As level 10's come out, the ETC doesn't have anywhere to go. The stun comes down, but the sleep, will it be enough to save him? No, it won't. Cassia gets woken up, does get the damage out, but she's falling solo herself. Sonya trying to bully that Li Ming out, won't quite get there, and now Lunara just having to tap that overtime, but the blue team is here, and I think this is going to be a first protector coming down for tactical suicide.
Absolutely. We all know what's going to happen with this first protector. A little bit of damage to mid, rotate top, grab the fountain, right? But I feel like the blue team aren't in much of a position to push many advantages. Cassia's pretty low. 2 members in the protector. I think you're just going to do your bare bones basics here and get out.
Get what you can. Get as much of this front wall as is possible. Instantly, nicely done here. All the damage that the gunner has is going out onto the wall, but Cassia falling really low here.
What I was talking about.
The protector will just get her out. Lucio has to drop out though to make sure the damage is there. And they haven't got it well yet. Cassia's going to jump in.
Got to be careful of those big dives beyond the protector. As we mentioned in the previous semi-final match, the protector doesn't alpha a lot unless the opponents are standing still. So you can dive past it and take that team fight you have an advantage in.
Nicely played there from the Lucio, giving that big shield and then jumping out and instantly getting the big heal coming out as well, so that he knew he was ready. Shield coming out onto the Kel'Thas won't be enough though to pick him up, and the red team are going to be able to save this thought though.
Absolutely, well played by the Lucios. It's important to remember when you play this map, if you're in the protector, you don't have to stay in it until it blows up. You can leave, you can do things, especially as someone as a healer or a tank, and then just immediately get back in or have someone else go in. It's not a static thing, you're not locked into it.
That's very true, and because the red team backed off there when they saw the safety, the blue team were able to use their map presence and their priorities, just pick up the healing camp. That's a nice little advantage for them there. Slowly getting to this 13 quicker and building again an item advantage for the next objective.
Both teams just taking their respective camps at this point. No invades being seen here, no big ganks. I think both teams are just sort of aware of how even things are, just going to try and take this next team fight rather than risk anything.
Blue team have that level 13 advantage, so there's not a lot the red team can really do proactively, but on the flip side, red team already have the advantage set up for this fight, and so they don't want to make any big plays and risk throwing away what should be a relatively safe start to the protector fight.
Having more of a living bomb focus build for Kel'Thas here, with the 13 pickup being Fission Bomb rather than the cooldown for his other abilities.
Yeah, I have to say I'm not a fan.
No?
Oh,
okay.
Sonya though getting trapped here in the Entomb, but she will be spinning on 3. So much healing coming down. Will it be enough? No, it won't. She does fall, and she did also have to drop her turret, which is not ideal.
It's a nice rotate kill there by the blue team. Fantastically timed as well. Objectives will be coming up soon.
Just
coming
also,
up soon.
onto the offlane on maps like this are so valuable because it forces someone that's not traditionally a double soak to come and pick that XP up for your team.
Absolutely.
And you can just start snowballing the macro problems into much bigger issues. It's such an important role for the player to stay alive on.
Add to that the fact the blue team have already taken that camp, trying to get some extra pressure in that top lane. You're going to lose something somewhere. They need to respond.
Sonya just coming to this fight, but that means that a level lead coming down now for the blue team. Objective's still not up, and there's a risk that we start seeing the blue team able to just win this objective with 16.
Yeah, absolutely. Some big 16 spikes. Obviously, the Leoric damage reduction. Oh, nice Entomb there. Stay a while being dropped.
Very nicely done here, but Lunara on the top side getting caught out a little bit. The mosh pit only lands onto 1. Lucio able to boop it away. Nicely done there by him. Nice little second there of him. You could just see he was making sure he did not step into that mosh pit.
It's your favourite Joanna talent, by the way. It's Holy Fury.
It is. I was really hoping that if I didn't mention it, it would go away. But it's...
Sorry, not
If you're
sorry.
playing Johanna and you're not hitting 2 people with your Q, you're not getting a lot of value. Just use it after condemn. You always hit 2 people. You always roar, I think is the 13 one, and it's just better.
I'm personally a big fan of Raw on 13.
Mm-hmm.
Just
You
so
can sing
much value.
Katy Perry while you do it. It's a nice time.
Oh, red team going for an invade on the blue team's camp here. Are they going to be able to respond in time? That's a lot of damage that Kael'thas is doing to that camp.
Mm-hmm. Blue team choosing to take the heal camp instead. Lucio's going to go back up onto the point, get a little bit more channel, and minions are going to take that top fort. So both teams trading some advantages, getting value in different ways. Red team obviously can't really step into the top half of the map right now because they still don't have those level 16s, but looks like they're just going to try and siege this bottom fort. And I don't know if this is a trade you're too unhappy with. If the blue team, they might just take this camp and start keep walling.
I don't know if they necessarily needed to use the turret there to tank that, but they are going to get the fort regardless. Do you reckon they have time to go up and respond to the objective, or do you think they're just going to try and defend it at this point?
It looks like we're going to back and try and take this 4v5 fight in front of the keep, although Sonya not there just yet, so it's currently 4v4. Lucio will be able to get that objective. I'd like to see him come and join the fight for his team first, though. Looks like they aren't going to need him, but the red team... running it forwards, they want to try and find an engage here. Looks like they aren't going to be able to.
The Leoric Entomb was used during that fight, so be interesting to see if the red team do decide to try and dive past the Protector. Both of the damage dealers are inside the Protector at the moment.
This is a very interesting call, though. The blue team not taking the traditional safe double fort rotation. They want this keep topside. They be punished for it. Turrets dropping from the red side. Sonya's in there, in the back, making friends. Leo just getting around, putting his I don't know, spectral stealth or whatever it is on top of everyone. But no one's really falling yet, except for the health on this Protector. And I'm not sure I'm a fan of this call, but as I said, Kael'thas absolutely destroyed there by the Protector damage. And now Sonya caught in Entomb, but it's Leo that... Oh no, he's not gonna fall. I thought he had become a ghost, but Lucio says, no, you are making it out of this fight. And now 5v5, is there going to be a big engage? We still see 20 seconds on that shield and 30 on the Entomb, but blue team are going to try and walk down and maybe get more value, but the wall is still up in mid. I don't know.
Remember, ladies and gentlemen, you can't stand still when you're fighting a Protector, or you get blown up like that. We mentioned it earlier. Kael'thas just getting absolutely melted by those Protector's abilities.
Not a mobile hero is that Kael'thas, and maybe struggling a bit there because of it. Looks like the red team are going to try and fight 4v5 if the shield comes down. The sleep's going to come out to try and answer it, but ETC now with the mosh pit lands on 2, but
lovely
the frost is there instantly. Entomb on the Lunara, she's going to have to jump out for her life, and oh, so low, but she does make it out. Everyone on the red team, low health bars, but the blue team does have to back up.
Seems like the blue team are really struggling to finish off these kills. Like, they had the Greymane in the last game to do it. They don't really have anybody to hold that mantle at this point.
It does feel like the Cassia and the Li Ming aren't always there in time to get the full damage out. But it's nice to see the attempts, and you feel like when at 20 that's a silencing Entomb and you get that Li Ming a little bit more damage. Maybe that's when we'll start to really see the kills come through as the blue team able to just walk in and say thank you very much for the turret. Nicely done by them, but Johanna maybe a little bit too deep, didn't want to spread the bomb, and now ETC comes in. Johanna's falling so low here. Looks like she is going to drop. Lucio just able to keep her up. Maybe no, Sonya finds the kill, and Leo now drops his turret in the backside. But look at the damage coming out. Li Ming just coming in for that kill on Deckard. The turret not quite able to pick it up. She drops her own, and kills going over for the All Blacks. Maybe just a slightly confusing fight there for the blue team. Leoric is dead with Entomb, and Li Ming diving too deep. 2 turrets put down by the blue team.
Absolute disaster for the blue team. Red team can now push bot keep. They can go for that healing beacon. They pretty much got command to do whatever they want to do at this point. All lanes are currently pushing apart from bot. So there's so many things that the blue team could have done that did not involve dying at the enemy team's camp.
But it was so clean. It's just that Johanna with the living bomb wanted to be a team player, didn't want to spread it to her team, and just overstayed too long, able to get caught by ETC slide. And the ensuing chaos was just not ideal. for
I understand.
tactical suicide.
I feel like that's kind of the risk you run. If you're going to try and fight in a choke point like that, you need to be aware that you're fighting into chaos fast living bomb.
But sometimes you just have to accept that a bit of damage spread is better than being forced into a fight you really can't afford.
Absolutely.
But then I guess maybe with the spread it's kind of awkward. But you've got that Lucio, you should be able to disengage anything. I don't know. Here we are. Level 20 is coming down for both teams. The map looks incredibly even, Brightwing.
Yeah, but like even last game we mentioned it. Both teams are very evenly matched, and again, despite what we just saw, it's easily either team's game at this point.
And now, 17 minutes into the game, our Volskaya Foundry match can finally start with Objective C. Level 20's in for both sides, both the frontliners for the blue team, with that those incredibly engaged tools. But ETC with that death metal going to make those Entomb plays a little bit scarier. Cassia can't really dive them anymore. Limin can't Calamity in for that final pick. And Lunara and Kilthas both have incredible damages at upgrades at 20.
Red team going to go for the blue team's camp here. They're going to take it. It's a 5v4. Leoric still making his way down. Needs to be careful of that Entomb flank.
There's a big flank potential here. It's such a big choke. The red team can't say they are going to be able to get that turret. Benny picks it up, but I think drops the heal gun. But now, Greer is in trouble.
The bird's long.
It's so big, but Dara somehow walks out. The sleep saving everyone. The two-man mosh pit. Li Ming steps to repulsion it, but Sonya is able to finish her off because of it. And now, second the kill might be going over here to Sonya as well. Such a menace in that backline. No, it looks like Johanna and Lunara both on 60 health, able to walk out, but Leo here bitten off a bit too much, and he is gonna fall.
Do you want to point out in the top lane that camp is pushing the keep? Even with Lunara being there to clear, I think that keep's going to go down.
Oh, that catapult spent a long time there, unable to shoot because the three camp minions were body blocking it out. That is unfortunate. I don't know, I think she is going to get that keep before it falls. It looks like we're going to be able to save that in the top side.
Just about.
Here we see that the most important point. This Protector, is it game ending? It's not a full keep in the bot side, but you've got some structures there. You get the fight where the opposing team has to walk the Protector towards you. I don't want to see the blue team try and in for this. I think they're better off taking the safe defense.
Is it a safe defense though, considering that the bottom keep is pretty much dead already?
I think so. I think you have to win the fight, but you have the tools. And I'd rather see you take that fight in the lane where there aren't all these conveyor belts than I would see you try and take it on the point. But here, if you can get the engage, it's huge. And Leo's Entomb, unfortunately, not quite landing there. Attempt at the mosh pit, going to be shut down by the shield, but both the ults have been popped by the blue team and there's no follow-up. Leoric is going to fall first, and although Cassius trying to run it down, there isn't going to be a counter kill. And now we start to see the awkward position. 4v5 into this Protector. Are they going to have the damage to stop it? I'm not sure they will. And it looks like they're running topside. Is this a base trade call? Ooh. No, they don't think they have the damage for it. And into the Sonya, I don't blame them, but...
I'm curious to see if the blue team decides to try and dive past Protector here. Obviously, it would normally be a 5v4, but with two members of the red team in the Protector, could you try and take a 4v3 perhaps?
I mean, you have to
damage
your call, right? You have to do your best, but I think maybe there's just too much damage. They weren't able to set the fight up before the key Protector gets there, and so with all these turrets, it will be game 2 going over to the All Blacks. But what a close series, Brightwing.
It's so cool, and now we're going to be treated to a game 3, which is even more exciting. Also, you got to spectate a Volskaya game. You can go to 30 minutes.
Hang on. Telling lies. This is a second victory for the All Blacks.
Oh, my apologies. my brain is absolutely frazzled from the games we saw yesterday. My apologies.
Oh, they are so close, but unfortunately, this is the All Blacks able to take that second map of winning themselves the game.
It was so close, I didn't even know which team was winning.
Alright, now, Brightwing. It's been a long weekend for you, but I'm afraid I can't let you go just yet. Before we transition into the final, I have to know. The All Blacks or the winners of our first series, whose name was, of course, Quack-a-Mole. Definitely remembered that.
Yep.
I couldn't remember if it was Quack-a-Mole or Sardines that won. Quack-a-Mole, All Black. Look, it was almost an hour ago, right?
Good to see I'm not the only person that's frazzled right now.
We're all a little bit. But Quack-a-Mole or the All Blacks, who takes it for you?
Quack-a-Mole have been seen as like the big fan favorite right now, but seeing as how well-oiled a machine the All Blacks are, I find it really hard to bet against. So I think the All Blacks are going to take it in the final.
Thank you. I don't know. All Blacks into the final. I've seen it in rugby before, and it hasn't been pretty. No, they have two incredibly well-fought series there. They had a very strong opponent up against them in Tactical Suicide. But I've been told, and I'm just going to fact-check this before I say it live on stream, but I have been told that Quack-a-Mole and the All Blacks were in the same group. And apparently it was a 2-1 win to Quack-a-Mole, although it doesn't look like... Oh, wait, no, that's the Epic. Okay, hang on. Yes, it was indeed a 2-1 victory for Quack-a-Mole. So
Very
in
nice.
this best of 5, are they going to be able to repeat history, or will the All Blacks, with that extra couple of maps, be able to finish them off?
I feel like I have to stand by my pick here. With the little knowledge of Epic Cup that I have gained through today's cast, I feel like that's got to be the pick.
Quack-a-Mole will quack all. Ladies and gentlemen, I think it is time for us to go into a break and save my poor voice before we come back for this final. So all that remains is to say thank you to Tactical Suicide and to Sardines in a Can for giving us 2 fabulous semi-finals. Thank you, of course, to the All Blacks, and wish them the best of luck as they take on Quack-a-Mole. And thank you to Brightwing for being here for these semi-finals. Any final words, any shout-outs for the chat, Brightwing?
Thank you to all the production guys behind the scenes that don't necessarily get called out for all the amazing work they do, and good luck to both teams in the final. It's going to be one hell of a series.
And remember, Johanna is a queen, and you should hear her roar. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you after the break.